Hello and welcome back to the FSF Podcast. I am Tim. I am your host, and you are now watching and or listening to the show that is made by nerds for nerds. So, our guest today in the Nerdatorium is a ridiculously talented artist that I met at this year's Monroe Comic Con, which, if you're not going to Monroe Comic Con, what are you in life? Monroe Comic Con is held every September down in Monroe, Michigan, and there's always really cool artists and comic book guys and actors and voice actors. Anyway, I could go on and on, but check out the Monroe Comic Con next year if you have the opportunity in 2026. However, a couple different times I sat across from this man's art, and the longer I looked at it, the more impressed I was and the more I was drawn to his work. And now what this man can do with an airbrush is ridiculous. It's absolutely out of this world. I was blown away. And you're talking to a guy who worked for years in the sign business and knows guys who can airbrush, and they can't hold a candle to what this man can do. I am so excited to talk to him about his art, his influences, his fandom, and this is just really, really cool. So I am very excited to welcome the artist DConey to the show. Welcome to the show.
Hey, what's up, Tim? That was a heck of an introduction. I'm happy to be here, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good. No, seriously. When we were at Monroe and I was sitting across, I was watching tables for other writers and authors as they went to their panel discussions, the panels that I wasn't running. I sat there looking at your art, and I'll be honest with you, your art is so good, it made me think it was AI.
Thank you. I haven't heard that one before. That is
straight up. Your art is so clean. Your work is so clean that I was sitting there looking at it going, is he selling AI prints? And then the more I looked at it, I was like, no, he's not. That's airbrush.
Wow.
And it was just so clean, man.
Man, thank you so much.
So I have never looked at
looking at it for a while, like finally came up to me because you were going even when you introduced yourself.
Oh yeah,
that you kind of, I like doing those shows because you can kind of get a feel of how people, the energy that they have reacting to your work or yourself, and your energy was just great, and I could tell you were mulling that over for quite a while. So now to hear what was actually going through your mind.
Yeah, man. I sat there and I looked at that and I was just like, for probably about the first 15, 20 minutes, I was like, those are really cool, but I didn't know that they let them sell AI prints here.
I thought that was against the show rules, right?
Yeah, exactly. I was like, man, because that was also the same day that I was looking at somebody posted an image of an artist, and for him, I will use the term very loosely, but they are an AI artist, and I'm like, oh no, you're not an AI artist. You just told a computer what you wanted, and that doesn't count. So
weird times. So thank you, man.
It is
a lot.
Yeah, yeah. So one of the first things I always love to do, though, is I love to talk to people about their origins, how they got started and doing what they do, why they do what they do. And part of that is because I like to know what makes people tick, and knowing what they do and kind of gives me an insight into who they are and what they are and what motivates people.
Yeah.
And then the other half of that is I'm a giant nerd, and nerds love origin stories. And, what better way to get an origin story than to be able to talk with, the person who's living through the origin. So in the story of the artist DConey, what got you here, man? What made you say, I need to be an artist?
Wow. Well, that's really in true origin fashion. It started when I was really, really young. I mean, as far as I can remember, I had a crayon or a pencil in my hand and was scribbling. I think the earliest memories for me were trying to emulate or draw Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And I had to be in kindergarten, Tim. Like, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I felt like were very circular motion, their heads and everything. So I remember drawing those. And then later on, when Batman the Animated Series came out, everybody was drawing Turtles and Batman. Matter of fact, I had a friend in first grade. His name was also Tim, which he was a really good artist too. So we would draw like that and just compare it. And I didn't know that other kids weren't drawing at the level that I was drawing even early on. So it just kind of stuck with me. Superheroes have always been a huge influence for me, from the stories, and then there's the aesthetics, how they look, and just the escapism that they provide is really something that's always imprinted on me. So been drawing for a long time, and I started drawing like my friends when I was a youth. And I went to like in Michigan, a youth group church and things like that. And I would draw my friends in my friend group, and they were like, "Oh, that's really cool." And I tried to go from superheroes to faces. And in my senior year, I moved around a lot in school. So art was one of the things that was consistent for me. Sure. And superheroes were consistent for me. And I think that I attest a lot to keeping me out of trouble, and then also keeping me unique and changing social arenas. You know, school was hard and you have to change and start over. So art was consistent and always got me attention or recognition. And so my senior year of high school, I was walking through the mall with my god sister, shout out to Ebony, and I was bored with art. I was tired of graphite. I was tired of colored pencils. And I saw these guys airbrushing in the mall.
Okay.
I've never seen it before. I've never seen the concept of somebody painting without touching the surface. And I was like, oh my gosh, I got to see that. And she's like, she knew one of the guys. She's like, you want to meet him? Yep. Went in there, talked to him. I'm like, I want to learn this. And he told me everything I needed. I went home and told my dad that night, and he, I think within 24 hours, got me a compressor, airbrush.
Oh, wow.
Paint. Yeah. And I think like the next day, literally, I went back up there after school, and I was like, teach me. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, like 30 days, I was pretty good. Like to the point where he's like, oh man, this guy is a beast. I got to turn you over to somebody else. And that's where I met my big bro and mentor, the big mentor in the airbrushing for me. His name is Felly, one of Detroit's greatest artists. He does murals all over now. He taught me how to airbrush and body paint.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, so that was how I got into airbrushing. And for me, I wanted to blend that with superheroes, my consistent love. And I wanted it to look different. I didn't want it to look like, what you said is kind of the goal. When people look at my art, I don't want it to look like airbrushing. I don't want it to look like acrylic. I want it to look like, wow, that is sharp and clean, but that's airbrushing. So that's always kind of been my goal. And to bring that to art, big influences like Alex Ross. That's kind of how I wanted to make my imprint. So that's kind of the origin story. And I love connecting with people. I love connecting with people through my art. And that's what kind of fuels me, man. It's a rocky road sometimes, but hey,
sure. Well, and kudos to your dad too. I mean, that was awesome that, that quickly he was able to get you into something you were pointed towards. That's awesome.
Absolutely. My dad, I'm the oldest. Shout out to me and my brother. We're just the two of us, and we've always come from an entrepreneurship type background and family. Our parents really wanted us to get into some sort of entrepreneurship, or my dad is a builder, so he's always he had a building company growing up, and so he was waiting on me to kind of sink my teeth into some of my talents or skills. He was worried. I'm the oldest, and I got 3 kids now, so I know how it is with that oldest. It's like, I hope they're okay. So when I came home excited about something, he was ready to really pour into me, and I thank him for that, man. It a good investment.
That's awesome. Yeah. Now, so for my dad's been a sign maker since the early 80s.
Oh, really?
And yeah, so I grew up with my dad was self-employed. For the longest time, so he was a sign maker and we did vehicle graphics. I would go out to car dealerships and apply the vehicle graphics to the
Like
car, the vinyl
raps?
graphic. Yeah. And
Okay.
vinyl graphics and all that type of stuff and graphic
Yeah.
kits. Um but I was always amazed by people who were able to like do pinstripes with just the paintbrush. And I watched people
Get it?
put graphics kits on the sides of cars with airbrush.
Mm.
And I was just like, for a guy who to this day can't start draw anything but a stick figure, I was like, I did not get the artistic skill. That is God's like, you don't get the artistic skill, you get the gift of gab. That's all you
Oh
get,
man.
brother.
Well, hey, he
So
got you a gift.
yeah, I'm still thankful for that. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But that type of work has always been just very, very impressive to me. And airbrushing is such a skill. So, how long did it take you to feel like you were proficient with airbrushing? And do you have advice for anyone who's looking at getting into becoming an airbrush artist?
Yeah, great question. So for me, I really just needed to learn, well, getting into it in the beginning. My biggest goal was to learn how to control the machine, right?
Sure.
There's a couple of different types of airbrushing, single action, dual action. And the dual action is what most people use, where you can one action for air and one action for paint. And just kind of getting that flow was the big challenge for me. But going up there every day after school and having, 3 airbrush artists I could watch, because it was a mall, and this is 2002. I'm showing my age, but 2002 when, during that era, airbrushing on clothing was really making a return since it
Mm-hmm.
was big in the 90s. And people were getting, hip hop and R&B artists painted on their oversized shirts and, shoes and all kind of stuff getting done. So I was able to watch other artists, which was really helpful. And it took me about, not even exaggerating, about 30 days. About 30 days to get comfortable doing like cartoons and feeling comfortable enough to start faces. Because remember, I was drawing and doing faces and portraits, which is kind of like my niche before superheroes. That's really what I like to do, and that's what really drew me to airbrushing. I was like the amount of proficient smoothness that they can get in painting a face and making it look glamorous, like a glamour photo. That's what drew me into it. I never got into it for the script and t-shirt designs. I
Yeah,
wanted
yeah.
faces. So it took me about 30 days to get good at controlling it. And then once they introduced me to my guy Felly, he just helped me launch into a whole nother atmosphere because he's a master at airbrushing. He was actually part of a group called the Kingpins, Kingpin Airbrushing,
Nice.
in the late 90s. And so he taught me the secrets there. And that, I think, was like the secret sauce. So, yeah.
All right. So, any advice for people looking to get into airbrushing, and as far as what to expect, perhaps, or is there a preferred set of tools that you like, or compressors that
Absolutely.
you use?
Yeah. And so that's actually a really cool segue. I'm for the first time in 23 years, the biggest question I get asked is, "Do you teach?" And it's always been no, because I didn't want to. I wasn't really big when I was like a little bit younger and teaching kids. People have behavioral issues, and kids are different these days. And I was just kind of on the rise of
Hell
doing.
yeah.
And so I was like, nah, I just I'm still paving my own way, but now that I'm a bit older and I've been doing it for quite a while, I don't want the craft to die off. I want to pass it on to the next generation, and so I'm starting to teach. I've got it's not like an online academy, or it's pre-recorded instructions, exercises, things like that to help people get started. You can watch it as many times as you want to, and that'll be coming out next month. And to get started, I would say, patience is huge, because a lot of times people, when it's not working out, learning how to control that air flow and paint, they get frustrated, want to put it down. Really have patience. And then what I didn't do, I encourage people to do now, is really work on the basic exercises. It's easy to like trace a picture or find some of the tips and tricks that I'll be giving and want to just jump into the big stuff like I did. But I now am going back and relearning some of those basics, which I think if I learned early would make me an even more impressive airbrush artist. So just learning really how to control the paint in a very proficient way is what I would say. Just learn the basics, and the advanced stuff and the fun stuff is always going to be there.
All right. That's solid advice.
Yep.
Okay. And do you have a link for people to be able to follow you or check you out on that? For
yeah.
that
So
teaching?
right now I have a waiting list that we're doing to have people sign up once it drops, and that is waitlistcourse.com/DConeyArt. That's waitlistcourse.com/DConeyArt. And you can also follow me on Instagram, which is DConeyArt on Instagram. And I'm also on TikTok now, which is really blowing up. I messed up my first profile, so I had to make another one, and that is Artist DConey.
All right.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. Yeah, we'll make sure to put some notes down in there for people to be able to check you out and what's
I would
going on
love
there.
for them to join us, man. We're gonna have a lot of fun, and
I bet.
see the new wave of airbrush artists that come through it, because they've been asking me, Tim, for quite a while. I'm like, all right, we're gonna see who's serious.
There you go. Absolutely. All right. So when we were at Monroe, now you had a lot of Power Rangers art up, which made sense because there was a bunch of Power Rangers there. But you also had some seriously sick artwork of Deadpool and Wolverine, the one that is behind your shoulder. That was honestly one of the things where I was like, that's the AI. I'm like, that is so AI. And then when I got up closer and looked at it, I was like, no, that is not AI. That is definitely not. That is. And you also had like you had your Michael Keaton Batman image that you did, which is just chef's kiss, brother. Just that's good stuff. So, but you're kind of, you have Superman there, and like I said, there was Power Rangers and all these different things that I saw. What is your favorite fandom to make artwork for, and why?
That's a great question. My favorite, it actually changes. I think.
Sure.
I think my go-to is my favorite superhero, which is Spider-Man. Spider-Man is goated for me. And there's a few different reasons why I love the character, but as far as art, I think it's because he wears a mask, and it's easy to, because as artists, any artist that is watching this, they're gonna know sometimes we war with our own insecurities, right? We know
sure.
We know where we need improvement. We know we need to practice, right? And sometimes we want to be further along than we are, by our measurements. But Spider-Man is always a safe place for me, because you don't have to worry about getting the nose right or the expression right, because he's wearing a mask. You just got to get those eyes right. And then you have free reign to do some cool extreme poses, right? And Spider-Man is just a comfort place for me. In the 90s, when the animated series came out, that was my favorite cartoon, and that locked in my love for Spider-Man, and still to this day it's my favorite. And Andrew Garfield is my favorite Spider-Man. So I did I don't know if you saw that one, but I did a piece. Well, that's something different. I won't go into that. But yeah, Spider-Man is definitely my safe space. But I don't paint him as much as I would like to, because there was a season where I think I just did a lot of overkill, and so
Okay.
let me start to do some other stuff, just like Power Rangers. Power Rangers, I definitely hit the Power Rangers scene hard, and there's a reason for that. So we'll get into that.
Okay. All right. Yeah, because I understand the changing of not that they lose place in your fandom, but I think as we get older, this is for me talking from my own experience. I found that things that maybe I appreciated as a kid, I still appreciate them, but I have respect for other characters as I've grown up. Like
Yeah,
I see Batman way differently than I did when I was a kid. You
yeah,
know, and the Punisher, I see Punisher way differently than when I was a kid. I was like, oh, he's just really cool, and he's badass. He'll take anybody down. And then it's
right.
like, yeah, but then you look at the pain and the heartache behind his character and his origin story, and yeah, there's just so much to them, and I can see why, and I think it's called you said it was a season, and I liked that because I thought, well, I've had all these different seasons in my life
Right.
where this thing has always, this thing was cool, then it was this thing, and I've always liked these different characters, and I've swapped back and forth between Marvel and DC, which one was running the show for me at that point.
Sure.
But the constant in my life, in contrast, is Star Wars. That's where I hang my hat. I'm a huge Star Wars nerd. I was the kid back in the day recording these off of like TBS and HBO.
Yeah.
Straight up bootlegging these things and had them all on one VHS tape.
Yep.
I'd record it in the slow mode so it would use less tape.
Oh yes.
Hell yeah. Get 3 movies on one. Hell yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I used to record it. Like I said, I forgot about slow mo. Tim, that is crazy. So you got that version. That is good.
Yeah, I was the kid faking sick so I could stay home and watch Star Wars. I'd be looking at my mom like, I don't feel good, Mom.
Right.
Yeah, I go crawl in bed with popcorn. Oh, Star Wars. Oh,
I feel great now. Oh, I'm 80% there.
Yeah. As soon as Mom would round the corner,
right. Yeah.
She says she knew, but I don't think she knew. I think she's just
so
trying
funny. That's actually at the top of my list for the next wave of art that I want to tackle Star Wars. I looked up, like, I don't have Star Wars art, and there's a whole fandom for that spans generations, and so I think you're really going to like some of the things that I have planned for my Star Wars fan, because I'm a Star Wars fan too. That was my era as well. Like hearing my dad talk about Star Wars and introducing it to me for the first time, and just falling in love with the characters and Vader and Luke, and then our era, because I think you're kind of in the same genre or age group as I am. When the prequels came out, episode 1, 2, and 3, that was for us, and that totally changed the game. And I'm sad that Darth Maul was killed off so fast. I love that character, and
he's my favorite. Oh,
he's
my God.
so awesome looking, man, and
so dope.
Oh, and that fight scene in episode 1, goated, man. I'm like, they should have kept him. So
I love that they brought him back for the animated series, both Clone Wars and Rebels, and I love all of that. So did you see that they're going to have a Darth Maul series starting next year on Disney Plus?
I think I saw, and isn't that what Ray Park was shooting? Because I saw him when I was following.
No, is this that's for something else, but it's an animated series, so Sam Witwer is going to be back doing the voice of Maul again.
Oh, okay, gotcha. All right.
Which I think if it was anybody but Sam Witwer at this point, the fandom would riot.
Okay.
So
it's so much now, man, that I feel like I got older overnight. It's like it fast forward, and I was like out of touch with stuff. So that's kind of
I get that.
I really am wanting to get back and further into the Comic Con space. I think Monroe was kind of like the first time, or the first kickoff of me just immersing myself back into it. It was a great experience. I have never really hit it hard, and then the time that I did do it, I don't think I really was prepared for what them and all that it brings, really the potential it has. I wasn't prepared for it. So now I'm in a stage in my life where it's like, okay, I really want to contribute to this space. I really want to absorb the energy and the fan,
Yeah.
especially post pandemic. I think the Comic Con space really launched in a different atmosphere after the pandemic. So,
Oh, I agree 100%. It gave people a sense of connection again.
absolutely.
Um, and for me coming into because I had never actually attended a Comic Con until after post pandemic,
Mm,
and the first one I attended, we all had to wear masks, and and that's fine. It keeps people safe. I'm good with it,
sure.
especially because I have a chronically ill daughter, so I have to be cautious anyway.
Right, right.
Uh, but I was like, I don't care. We get to go be around people and do the things, and we're talking nerdy stuff, all the like from start to close. Seriously, and
Yeah,
I could buy nerd stuff. Down, let's do this.
let's do it.
And oh man, I had so much fun, and I've been hooked ever since. And and so I've been coming to Monroe now for the last 4 years. I think the last 4 years, yeah.
Yeah,
And been working the panel rooms there, and man, I have so much fun working for Gary
I
and
love
running the
Gary.
panels.
Oh
Uh,
man,
Gary
listen,
and Don are two of the greatest people. They're just
they
awesome.
are. Shout out to Gary and everybody over at Monroe Comic
Hell
Con.
yeah.
Those are some great people. And just to kind of segue to that for a minute, I met Gary maybe in like 2018. That was the first time I attended, I
Okay.
think, Monroe Comic Con, something around that time. I can't remember the exact year. And we just hit it off, and he loved my art so much. I don't remember if I had a table or heard about it, but it's blurry now. But we hit it off, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so Gary's like, bro, anytime you want to come, you have an open door. And he looks out for me in a way that I have not experienced with any other show. And I've watched him grow. I think it was the first one. That's what it was. It was the first one. So he's kind of like, whoever wants to come and be a part to help me get this thing
Mm-hmm.
going. It was early on. I don't know if it was the very first, it was early on. And, ever since then, he's like, brother, you want to come, you can come. And he looked out for me in a very great way and continues to do so. Because my first Comic Con was in 2010 and
Okay.
a Power Morphicon. So,
Oh, nice. Okay.
and that's a quick origin story there. So it was Power Morphicon. I never heard about Comic Con before ever. And my brother was in college. Shout out to Aaron. And I saw a clip of Karen Ashley, who played the Yellow Ranger in Mighty Morphin, um, doing like questions and answers. And I'm like, what is this? Later found out it was a panel. I'm like, they do that? They're still around? And for a kid, a millennial, my brother and I were huge. I'm talking about just like most people from the era, huge Power Ranger fans. And
Sure.
so the big kid in me was like, I just want to meet Tommy. I want to meet, all these people I grew up with. And
Nice.
Karen's
Yeah.
beautiful. I want to meet Aisha, all of them, right? And I started kind of inboxing people who I thought were them. And I got catfished a couple of times, but finally connected with Karen Ashley. And she's like, it's really me. And, from then I connected with Blake Foster. And my brother and
Oh,
I,
nice.
we did a little bit of work for Blake and ended up going out to LA for our first Power Morphicon. And it was really cool because at that time, the fandom was still very much fandom. It was a big separation from one side of the table and the other. It wasn't, a blended thing like it is kind of now where you can kind of befriend a lot of talent and things like that. But Blake brought us in as his guys. They're doing artwork for me, and my brother was
Well,
the
that's cool.
graphic artist. And so we got to meet our childhood heroes for the first time on the inside of the table, which was huge for me. And I had gifted them some artwork. Jason David Frank was just blown away.
Oh, wow.
And from there, they became really good friends of ours. My brother commissioned a lot of work for them in their tables. I did a few pieces, and then I started to get my own audience. Like from the airbrush, and like you saw, like, this is amazing. I haven't seen anything outside of computer generated or graphic design illustration.
Right.
Guys painting this stuff. And so I quickly became my own kind of entity within that space. Did a little run with Lexington Comic Con. Shout out to those guys. And I just kind of bounced back between Lexington and Power Morphicon for years with the support of the Rangers. Met Walter Jones. He's a Detroit native, which was at Monroe. So that's like
cool
big
dude.
bro. And he's a really close friend. So even between like Blake Foster, Jason David Frank, and Walter Jones, amongst the others, Steve Cardenas, those guys really vouched for me and blew up my name in the Power Rangers space. That's why you see a lot or saw a lot of Power Ranger artwork at my table.
That makes a
that
lot
wasn't
of sense.
even all of it. I retired.
No, I'm sure.
Yeah, man. So those guys are awesome. All those cast members, Austin St. John, all those guys.
Yeah.
We have a lot of history. We've been friends for 15 years now. So.
Oh, that's crazy. Nice, man.
Yeah.
Every person that I've talked to from Power Rangers has been just absolute gem of a human. Like,
Absolutely.
I haven't met, and I've met a lot of famous people doing these interviews, and I've
Sure.
had opportunities to sit down across the virtual table here with people who are some of my heroes, and being, and trying. The hardest thing for me was not fanboying.
Oh my goodness. Listen, I bombed a few times, let me tell you.
Oh, for sure.
Do that. I wish I could take it back.
Oh, dude, when we first had Sam Witwer on, because Sam has been gracious enough to come to the show a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a huge Darth Maul fan. I'm a massive Star Wars fan.
Right.
And getting the voice of Darth Maul on the show, and he's, and I love the game Star Wars Force Unleashed. He was Star Killer in that game. And he started talking, and I'm like, hi.
That's Darth Maul.
Oh, hi.
Voice actors have that effect.
Yeah. Oh, dude, they're so crazy.
Listen, I can tell you one, which you won't mind me telling. My brother kind of had the bigger effect. So my brother Aaron, he moved out to LA, and he became Blake Foster, who played the Blue Power Ranger or Blue Turbo Ranger, was his first client. And then, of course, from there, he built a talent agency. And one of the guys he met at a Comic-Con in the green room, he's talking, and he's like, yeah, I do this. I'm a talent agent, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, well, yeah, what are you here for? He's like, well, I do a little VO work. I'm a voice actor. He's like, okay, cool. He's like, what show? He's like, yeah, I don't know if you heard of Dragon Ball Z before. He's like, who the hell are you on Dragon Ball Z? And he's like, and I had a similar thing. Once my brother told me this story, he's like, who the hell are you on Dragon Ball Z? He's like, hi, my name's Goku. It turned out to be Sean Schimmel. And it's like,
nice.
What? And then so later on, I got introduced and hanging out. Sean's a good friend of ours now. And just hearing him, especially Sean's a very passionate person. When he gets to going about, politics in the VO world and other stuff like that, you hear Goku coming out. And it's like, bro,
oh, that's funny
Goku right now. So it's so funny to talk to VO actors. Oh, it's funny.
Oh, I love talking to voice actors. Honestly, it's become one of my favorite things to do in this is talk with voice actors, because they have such a wide range of characters they've played and things that they've done.
Yeah.
And some of them, their ability to slip in and out of characters is just ridiculous.
Listen.
Like I had the privilege of talking to Rob Paulson, who, for those of you who aren't aware, he's Yakko from Animaniacs. He's Pinky from Pinky and the Brain.
Oh, I used to love to imitate Pinky.
Oh, hell yeah. And he was, we're just, I would ask him just a random regular question, and he was, he was also, oh God, the dude from Jimmy Neutron with the glasses and the hair. He's Carl Weezer. There we go. He's Carl Weezer from Jimmy Neutron. and he's popping in and out of these characters right, left, and center. And I have never laughed so hard in an interview. I almost fell out of my damn chair like
That
twice
is
because
funny.
he'd get me going. I was wiping tears out of my eyes. I was like, this is
They
the
are
greatest.
very animated. That's part of the magic. The actual people that bring these characters to life, you don't often think about. You just think of the character, but you got to remember it's the energy and the life that the voice actor is bringing the character that is really breathing the magic into it. So shout out to the voice actors out there, man. There's visual artists, but the voice actors bring those things to life.
Yeah, anybody can read the lines. Any human can read the lines. It takes something special to make you want to invest into that character. And
man.
Always a very cool thing.
Absolutely.
So we're sitting here, we're talking about all this work that we're doing and all these different forms of work. And even though work can be fun, and it there are high points, but it's still tiring, and work still has its limitations on the body. Absolutely. So how do you recharge your batteries? What helps you feel fresh for what's coming next?
Woo, that is a right now in my backyard question. Like I'm having to dig in that bag right now, Tim. So we talked earlier about seasons, right?
Yeah.
And the Power Rangers was like a 10-year run for me where I was just kind of doing Power Ranger art. And I think I burned out, to be honest. And I was like, if I don't see another Power Ranger for a long time, I'll be okay. And I lost myself in that, my ability to appreciate other IPs, wanting to do other things. I kind of lost that. And so for me, I found that through trial and error, I tried some things that weren't really beneficial for me, and now I'm having to revisit. I think working out is one of the things that I haven't worked out in the last maybe 2 months. I learned that when you look better, you feel better. When you feel better, you do better. And when you do better, you're able to, just show up as a more complete and authentic version of yourself. So working out is what I'm like challenging myself to get back to as I'm diving into this new season of my life. I've been doing walks. Walks have been great for me. Before it gets cold here in Michigan, I do like 2 walks a day just to reset and refresh. And now one of the things I've been doing a lot of commissions, a lot of t-shirt art. I'm getting into the t-shirt art again, and which is cool. But making time for myself, I learned during a burnout phase that I was burning out because I was doing art for everyone else and not myself. And I would say that there is a child still inside of each and every one of us that we still got to feed, we still got to nurture, we still got to care for. And
absolutely,
we create these adaptive versions of ourselves to protect that child or to power through, but you still got to nurture that child. So for me, and just yesterday, I was on Chat GPT, like, help me with a new schedule, and so one of those things is a power block of artwork just for me, man. I've got this cool, I want to show you. I've got this cool book, shout out to my brother, of Jim Lee
oh wow,
artwork. And my brother at a Comic Con got Jim Lee to sign one of his sketchbooks for me. And this is part of my inspiration. Just artwork, headshots of Jim Lee doing his thing. And that's what I love to do most, just do busts of characters and whatever. And I think that's part of how I'm going to recharge and just get back to my roots on that. So yeah, working out, eating better, working on my sleep pattern. Just the things that we know to do, right? That sound boring, but when you actually do them, make a difference.
It's interesting though that you look at it from that perspective. I think that I think many times, even though it's something that we enjoy, and this even comes to me with podcasting, even though this is something I enjoy doing. I love sitting down talking to people about what they're doing and their fandoms, and getting to see people and creative people and why they're so creative. But it can also be a challenge at times. Sometimes there are times when this feels more like work than it is fun.
Yeah.
And that's when it's hard to, and that's when I've had to do what you just described in the past, find ways to kind of circle around that and find ways to make myself feel better about what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And inevitably what happens is that when I'm trying to push through or power through, I just got to get this done. I'll get this done. I'll be fine. Inevitably, what happens with one of these conversations, like and this is honest, and I'm not saying this just for effect, but conversations like the one we're having right now are refreshing to me, because
Yeah.
it's getting to talk to somebody who I have a level of appreciation for what they do and why they're doing it, and hearing these cool stories about them and what they're doing. That's very refreshing to me, and it reminds me of why I do what I do.
Yeah.
And for me, that's the cool thing. Like I get to sit here and listen to people and talk to people that folks may not have another opportunity to maybe meet or talk to, and I get to sit here and talk with you about your artwork and how AI owes you money and and all this stuff. And to me, that is super cool, and that's what recharges me and helps me want to move forward. So
I love it, man, and we need you guys, man, because you guys help us in the challenging moments. It's the idle moments that are challenging,
yeah.
where it's so easy to scroll, and we take in so much garbage and negativity, and
Oh, for sure.
it's like our phones. We only have so much processing space in our brains, and
Mm-hmm.
but if we can take in stuff like this that encourages us, or hear stories that help us to push,
Oh, for
I
sure.
think
Yeah.
that's really needed. So props to you, man, for doing this. I'm
Oh,
so
thanks,
happy
man.
to be on here, and that's one of the things, even for me, today, I told you before we got shooting, today was a challenging day, and I almost wanted to reschedule, but my wife's like, no, just power through, do it. It'll probably recharge you. And she's right. Shout out to my wife. It definitely is recharging me, and seeing the aesthetic of your setup, and that's why I like doing the Comic Cons, man. It's the energy, it
Oh,
really
yeah.
charges you in a way and refreshes you. And I think, to everybody that's going through a challenging time, whether it's like you said, in their work or their craft, or
Mm-hmm.
they're burning out, or it's getting stale, it's the art of the reset. Sometimes we have to reset and strip away the trash, strip away the distractions, and find those things that make us smile, right?
For
Find those
sure.
things that light us
For
up on
sure.
the inside, and feed that. My brother, shout out to Aaron again. He had that a couple of years ago and had a lot of isolation time. I don't know if we were still in the pandemic, and he went back to comic books. And we were more animated series type kids. We had comic
Mm-hmm.
books and stuff,
Yeah.
but we weren't like collectors. We would go and pick them up, and especially if the art was cool. But
Same.
my brother revisited comics and really fell in love with it and created his own story, right? And it
Oh,
started
cool.
out as an extension of Power Rangers. But shout out to the late Jason David Frank. He's like, don't make it Power Rangers, make it something else. It was for us that grew up with it, something more mature. And so he created his own IP, which is called Phantom Force. And it's
Okay,
like
cool.
Power Rangers meets Invincible, right? And he's
Oh,
got a really great following. It follows loosely Blake Foster's character on Turbo, but they made it their own. And it's really cool, man. I mean, I'll show you the first page so you guys can see that it's so much different. I mean, you got her
oh, that's
leg
very
blown
cool.
off, and It's
Yeah.
really cool. I'll send you some of that. But I did the back cover. He's wanted me to do covers, so I'm gonna start doing some variants. And this is kind of a shout out to JDF and
nice.
his friend Joe, who were big inspirations to helping him actually go through with it. But that's the type of stuff you never know what you'll get when you push through and work to reset. For him, it was a comic book. For me, it was, an Airbrush Academy to teach people what it is that, people love about me so much. Who knows the next artist that comes behind me, because I came behind Felly, and who knows the next artist, he or she may really look like AI or better. So the reset is often not just for you, it's for who's coming after you or who's going to experience what the byproduct is from your reset.
Nice. All right. So when I asked you the first question of this podcast, it was, I want to know your origin story because I like to know what makes people tick. And I've added this question in as well because this is another one of those questions where I really feel I get to know my guest, but in a different way. And I call this question suggestion time.
Okay.
So what is something that you're reading or listening to that you think everyone else should know about?
Reading or listening to
you can also include watching, because I had somebody ask me that a couple weeks ago. They're like, I'm not a big reader, but can I include watching? I was like, yeah, why not?
It's a great question. You mean as far as in the fandom or just in general?
Anything.
Okay.
Whatever you think people should be checking out.
So one, Phantom Force that you can check out, Phantom Force comic on Instagram, for sure. And issue 2 is about to come out. So that's, I think anybody who liked Power Rangers, Invincible, that type of stuff, you're going to love when I tell you love what they're doing, because it's like, we wish Power Rangers would come out with something more mature. This is that, but in a whole different way. So that for sure. I'm a big fan of Dan Mora's art. So my brother is kind of pulling me back into the comics. So I've been picking up a lot of Dan Mora stuff. We have the privilege and the blessing to grow up with cool people like Mike Posner and Big Sean. Big Sean is one of my brother's best friends. We grew up with him when he was just Sean.
Okay.
So
he hadn't gotten the big yet.
Got the big yet, but he recently came out with an amazing book called Go Higher, which I'm reading right now. And I think everybody should read this book. It's a really encouraging book. It's not overwhelming in the content that he's talking about, but it's very encouraging, very enlightening. So I'm reading that. I'm trying to think. I listened to Eric Thomas, E.T. the Hip Hop Preacher. He did a lot of work for voiceover work, and he is known as the #1 motivational speaker in the world. I don't know if he's still, but he's had that title for quite a little time now. And he did commercials and speaking engagements and hyping up NBA and NFL teams. So a lot of athletes lean on him, and he's helped me through some dark times. So E.T. the Hip Hop Preacher.
Very cool.
But outside of that, I'm trying to think things that I'm watching. Everything that I was watching, I think the rest of us were watching too, and they're kind of like on hiatus. Like, I can't wait till X-Men 97 comes back. The next season of Invincible. Like things like that. We all are watching that we can't wait for it to come back. But those are the things that come to my mind right now. Visually, Dan Mora is my guy. I think everybody loves Dan Mora. He does a lot of work for Boom Studios, Power Rangers, Teenage Mutant Turtles, Justice League, DC, all that stuff. Phantom Force and Go Higher is what I'm really kind of chewing on right now.
All right, very cool.
Yep.
All right. Well, we are at a point where I need to ask you a silly question.
All
now,
right.
this question came about because our team member Kathleen here, she has a daughter who's, I think, just turned 7. She was about 5 when this happened. But somebody asked her daughter this question, but not Kathleen. And Kathleen was like, what the hell? Why do we age out of this question?
Okay.
So Artist DConey, what is your favorite dinosaur?
Oh, this is a funny question because my mind went to what I think is my favorite, but as I've grown, like we talked earlier, and matured, it's changed a bit. So I'll say my OG favorite dinosaur is the Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Solid.
I used to do a Jurassic Park T-Rex impression, which I will not do on camera, but it's pretty official. But as I've grown and started to watch more of the movies, things like that, the Velociraptor has really become a favorite. So it's between those two. But I think I'm gonna have to, if I had to pick one, it's still gonna be the OG T-Rex.
I get down with that.
Yeah, Jurassic Park, that changed the game, and I still can remember walking out of the. Listen, funny story. My brother's gonna laugh when he sees this. When we went to see Jurassic Park in '93, we were at the movies, and my father took us, and he decided that he wanted to go refill our popcorn at the notorious scene of the T-Rex breaking out of its enclosure, and right before you hear the footsteps, my dad, I'll be right back. We're like, what? It's like, and then you see the wires breaking off and the suspense. And you know, those movies back then, it was all about the suspense. It's like, yeah, we left the movie. Like, we went to find him. Like, bro, you're not going to leave us as the T-Rex is breaking out. He might eat these kids. So, yeah, I think that's why T-Rex has a special place in my heart. Yeah.
I dig it. All right. Very cool.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, hey, thank you so much for being on the FSF podcast today. Where can our listeners go to find out more about you, your artwork, and what you've got coming up, man?
Hey, thank you first and foremost for, introducing yourself and having me on the show. I've had a blast, man. Your energy is infectious, and I love what you're doing to, highlight other creators and get it out to those that appreciate us, man. So, appreciate what you guys are doing over here at FSF, and where people can find me. I'm very active on Instagram, which is at DConey Art on Instagram. But where I'm having a lot more fun than I never thought I could is on TikTok these days, and that's Artist DConey on TikTok. I do a lot of lives on TikTok. I painted both of these and this painting that you probably saw at the Comic-Con. Painted that on live. So the audience is really cool on there. You can get a lot of these prints on my website, artistdconey.com. And for anybody that is interested in learning how to airbrush, you don't have to have any airbrushing background or artistic background. You can only know how to draw a stick figure. I'm going to teach you everything you need to know.
You ain't got that kind of time, man.
Listen, it's over 7.5 hours worth of content. And this is an introductional. I'm going to have a advanced course later on, but introduction. And so you can use this for hobbies. You can do this for signs and signage, anything you want. But that's the waiting list is growing right now, which is again waitlistcourse.com/DConeyArt. But those are pretty much. And I'm also on Facebook, Artist DConey on Facebook, and I've been pressured to get my YouTube back up as well. So you'll be seeing me back on YouTube. But yeah, man, hit me up, send me a DM. I do custom work, I do all that good stuff. But if you like these artworks, you can get replicas as well on the website.
Perfect. Well, I'll make sure we put links for those down in the show notes down below, so that way everybody can go check out your work. Because, like I said, and guys, if you haven't caught on, I'm a big fan of his work. I am immensely blown away at the talent this man has. He has more talent in his fingernail than I have in my whole body when it comes to art. And I'm not just saying that. I am art poor when it comes to that type of stuff, but I am blown away about what you can do. And so, like I said, we'll put some show notes down below. Make sure people can check you out.
Yes,
now,
sir.
Guys, this seems like a prime time to remind you that if you're not already following our show on YouTube, That's the most important free thing that you can do today. Cost you this many dollars. It is absolutely free to give a follow on YouTube. So check us out on YouTube. You'll see more amazing content from, not from me, because I'm not the cool people, but I talk to a lot of cool people, and they're all up on my YouTube channel. And so go check those out. A lot of cool interviews for you guys to be able to check out and enjoy. And it helps us out more than we'll ever be able to really describe and tell you. And if for nothing else, it's like just a nice little validation when I get a new subscriber. So, yeah, go check out artist Daniel Coney's work. This man is, like I said, infinitely talented. And I'm just, again, thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me, man. I had so much fun, man. This has been awesome. Great. Love what you're doing. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, guys. Thank you for watching or listening to the FSF Popcast. And may the force be with you as you continue to live long and prosper. Bye.
Copyright 2025 FSF Popcast. Reference to any specific product or entity mentioned on this podcast does not constitute an endorsement or recommendation by FSF Popcast. The views expressed by guests are their own, and their appearance on the program does not imply an endorsement of them or any entity they represent. If you have any questions about this disclaimer, please contact us via email at info@fsfpopcast.com.